I think talent has always been in every generation a challenge. And this generation, definitely, it's very interesting because I also have a 21-year-old. Okay. When I was 21-year-old, I had, I should earn 40,000 a month. I should have a house. I should be, having this kind of, we had that thought process, right? But my daughter is not bothered about that. She just wants to do what she wants to do. She's into writing, she's into creative things, and she got herself, enrolled into American School of Drama. So she's going, and no inputs from my side, by the way. Everything she has decided. So my point is, the new talent that's coming up, they like to work in gig economy, right? This is the gig economy. They don't want to be tied up for 9 hours, for that matter, right? Not even 4 hours. They're like, you tell us what you want and I'll deliver, and leave me alone.
Hey everyone, this is the People Led Show, and I'm your host Shivangi. Today, our guest is the dynamic Preeti Das. Preeti is the CHRO of Wellness Forever Medicare Limited, which is India's third largest pharmacy and lifestyle retail chain. It has 400 plus stores across 50 plus cities and a team of more than 5,000 people. With over 2 decades of experience, Preeti is a powerhouse in human resources. Her expertise includes talent acquisition, talent management, performance management, career pathing, succession planning, and employee relations, among other things. She's also a mother to a 9-year-old daughter and a happiness coach. Welcome, Preeti. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I also have a daughter who's 21.
Oh, wow. That is such a great information. Wow. So you've seen it all then.
Yes, 2 generations already in my house.
Wow. That's so nice to know. But a strong mother to two daughters, already an impressive feat to achieve. So kudos to you on that.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Awesome. So, Preeti, I've read a lot about your initiatives across industries, both in IT and in retail. But I'm very curious to know, what do you do outside of work?
Okay, outside of work, so in between, if you see, I had taken a break of 4 5 months, and I tried to explore my interest in painting. So I put up some exhibitions also. So not that great, of course, like an artist, but yes, they qualified an art gallery. So I feel okay, I'm at least there. So yes, painting is something I love, and I'm a very spiritual person. Happiness coach comes from there only, because one of my spiritual gurus taught me how I can live my life happier, and I just want to spread that to everybody. So that's one of my other things that I do. But of course, that is, what do you say, voluntary basis, right? It's not a career or something. And rest, I love kids and I love impromptu things. I'm not a very planned person. Many people like to plan their life, plan everything. I like surprises in my life. Like to enjoy them.
That's so interesting, especially the happiness coach bit. So after this podcast is over, I'm definitely going to reach out to you. If I want to zero in on a happiness coach, I would probably go to you because you look like you got it under control.
Thank you.
So in so many years of your experience, what has been like a very interesting story, a thought-provoking or fun or entertaining story that you'd like to
There
share?
are many actually. But from HR perspective, I was just thinking, that was something which was very startling that happened with me. So in HR, there are many theories, okay, and where they define, your personality. So there's MBTI, there's disc profiling, and number of things. So at the early stage of my career, I was introduced to DISC. DISC is DISC.
Mhm.
So D means you're a dominating personality. I is you're an influencing personality. S means you are steadiness you have in you, and C is contentious. Okay. So at a very early stage, I came as a dominating personality, and that is how I was being groomed in my initial stages. Then 6 7 years down the line, I got into a role which was more of compliance and all those. That time, my disc profiling changed to S, where I was very steady, very perfectionist kind of a person. And again, after 10 12 years, when I got my first, director level position, I became an I. And that time I was doing all of this with Dale Carnegie Institute. So they were really, senior people in this field. And I spoke to them that, how can somebody change so much? So that is when I learned that the role that you do in the organization, there are learned behaviors. What we usually think is, I am like this, I'll be like this only forever.
Yeah.
That's not the truth. As you change your roles, you get into different kind of people you meet, and whatever your role demands, you get into those learned behaviors. And that made me realize that those roles, which were not me, I was not very happy in that role. Though I was doing it as a job. And that was another point of realization that I started working on this happiness thing. That, people really need to understand what they are actually. And that's why when somebody comes to me for a career advice or in the organization, of course, there are so many people who want to go up, go into different roles. My first question to them is, what do you really enjoy doing? Because fine, you might think that IT is a wow career, but if I just don't like working, sitting in front of the computer and continuously coding, I love talking to people, IT, I'm never going to make it. So it's as simple as that. And that people miss out. So I think that was a very interesting learning that I got through this whole journey.
It's a beautiful anecdote, I think, through and through. And, I've never taken a test like that. I think I'm going to do it after the call.
It's free online, you can do it.
Yeah. And also, something that I was thinking that you obviously, wherever you are in your career and you imbibe those characteristics, right? And then you fall on the spectrum somewhere. Yeah. But talking about people challenges, where are we? What are your top three challenges you're planning to resolve in 2024?
I think talent has always been in every generation a challenge. And this generation, definitely, it's very interesting because I also have a 21-year-old. Okay. When I was 21-year-old, I had, like, I should earn 40,000 a month. I should have a house. I should be, having this kind of,
Yeah.
we had that thought process, right? But my daughter is not bothered about that. She just wants to do what she wants to do. She's into writing, she's into creative things, and she got herself, enrolled into American School of Drama. So she's going, and no inputs from my side, by the way. Everything she has decided. So my point is, the new talent that's coming up, they like to work in gig economy, right? This is the gig economy. They don't want to be tied up for 9 hours, for that matter, right? Not even 4 hours. They're like, you tell us what you want and I'll deliver, and leave me alone. That kind of thing. And dealing with this is becoming more and more difficult nowadays, because see, you have a gap. If there are company owners, they are of different generation. They have some other expectations. They feel, people have to be 9 hours in front of us, and then only things are delivered. But we have the new generation. They're like, why are you bothered about where I am and what I'm doing? As far as I'm delivering what you want,
Exactly.
it ends. So, bridging that gap, one. And second, how do we define these things for these gig economy workers? That is a big challenge, I think, as HR. Earlier, it was, person joins, a goal setting is done for the year, and or maybe, for 6 months or a quarter, and you can get the things done. But today, with this, where people are picked up on projects, then it's difficult to manage all of this and deliverables, deciding those KPIs and a lot of things. I think this is the biggest challenge I see today for HR, to think how to best utilize this. And see, it's a good thing for the company because you don't end up paying annual salaries. But how do you put those measures in place? How do you get it result oriented? How do you manage all of this is something very interesting that we're working through right now.
So what I understand is that, like, expectation and goal setting for Gen Zs, right? That's one challenge that we're trying to. But besides goal setting and how to develop the best kind of culture for them where they can survive, is also retaining them a challenge?
Of course. So retaining them, definitely, because like I said, they are not doing a job with us. They're here only for a particular project or some delivery that they need to do, and they will do only if they like working with you. That is also one thing, right? Earlier, it was if you're a full-time employee, you will first find another job, then you will leave and go. You have that much of period. If I don't like working with you today, I can just not take any other job with you. I can do some other project with somebody else. So it's so easy. So even technology wise, managing them at an employee level or a gig worker level is another challenge. So very interesting. It's
Very
a mix of
smart
people and
yeah, very
tech.
smart generation there, I think, coming. But among all of these things, how have the CEOs started getting into HR and now, like holding HR accountable, saying how the expectations of the CEO changed from the HR function at this point?
I think, the CEOs have always expected that the business problems should be resolved in the HR way. But the big and the kick, always is that we don't have the budget, but you need to resolve this, you know. And that is where I think AI and these technologies are the things that we need to capitalize on, because how much of manpower will you deploy? So, for example, in our organization, 400 stores, 400 different locations. I cannot keep HR for so many people, right? I need some technology which can help each of these people, connect and get their things resolved. I can't have so many people deployed for them, right? My business earn so much that I can deploy so many people for them. So these are some challenges, I think, at least from our perspective in retail, that we are seeing. And my CEO expects that you retain them, but there is no cost involved in it. The least that you can do, but you have to keep them engaged and retained. So I think that's the biggest challenge I have right now.
What are you using right now in terms of AI? Where are we?
So right now, AI per se, I don't think we're using anything, but yes, we are exploring a lot. Like I said, we really want something where people can connect whenever they want to, and we get that intelligence. If like earlier, we used to have these EWS systems, early warning systems, right, in organizations, which were manually maintained and fed by their managers or something. But I think AI can really help us over here, where they can monitor their behaviors, their work schedules, and any changes that they see over there, and pop up something to the respective business HR business partners, so that they can then go and intervene. But that intelligence can come from AI, I feel, and that is what I'm currently looking for, something where I can find, and I think Infido does have that. So I'm very keen to know about that. And also, we have a learning platform called Disperse. They are also, having in bits and pieces some AI implemented over there, which really helps us. So, for example, if there is anybody who is falling short in certain KPI, the software automatically assigns certain, learnings to them. If they don't actually do well in that, also then it is allocated to a trainer. So at least that much part we've got it, aligned over there. But let's see, it's just the beginning.
L&D is definitely going to be like a game changer, going forward.
It's already started with all the virtual trainings and recordings and all, but huge change in L&D.
Because if you don't want AI to take your job, you need to upskill, right? And to be upskilling, you need to be at the top of your game.
Absolutely.
Shifting gears a little bit, Preeti, I wanted to ask you, what are 2 to 3 manual tasks in HR as of currently that if automated could save up HRBP bandwidth to a great extent?
One, like I said, if I could get intelligence, what's happening on the ground, then my people would have to travel so much to get the pulse of the floor, what's happening on those stores. So definitely, if there is something that can tell me, the early warning system kind of thing, I would be interested in that. Otherwise, we have actually we have centralized a lot of regular queries and all that come. We have set up a help desk. In my last company, we set up a HR chatbot. So these things, I think, are generally now happening in most of the organizations. But yes, like I said, something that will help me keep a tab of my talent and the environment that's in these different locations, and can give me a alarm that, okay, these things need attention, or these things are going well and can be practiced somewhere else. I would love to have something like that.
I can't wait for you to get to know Infido. Like, I'm so excited about it because everything that you're saying is happening, and we're doing it for other companies. And I would just like love for us to chat about it.
Sure.
Staying on the topic of AI, we did a survey recently and we found that 90% people don't use AI or they are resistant towards it. Why are people not adopting AI? Isn't it high time already?
I think it is high time. And then sooner they adapt, the sooner they understand that it is the future, it will be easier for them to settle. So, like I said, I'm a person who doesn't like that stability, consistency. Every day I need something new. So for me, learning about AI and adopting, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just looking forward, what else can I do in technology and in AI? But most of the HR professionals, if you see, I think you meant HR professionals, right? Who don't adopt. So most of the HR professionals are scared of getting into tech. I've seen very few people in my whole career who are very tech savvy in HR. They're generally scared. So, my first, not, I cannot say first job, yeah, but HR first job that was in Bank of New York Mellon. I was hired to streamline everything because everything was paperwork that time. So nothing was on the system also. So my first job itself was getting everything tech savvy, streamlining things, ensuring everything has a tracker and all. In that time, Excel had just started, right? 20 years back, I'm saying. So my first job itself was like that. And since then, I am a person who likes technology, and what else can be done? How can I improvise everything? But I have seen very few people interested in getting into tech, understanding, and it just eases your job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think most of the people feel कि मेरा job चला जाएगा, but they don't understand that there used to be liftmen earlier. Now there are very few, right? But doesn't mean that there's no other opportunity. There are 10,000 more opportunities that people have come up with. We didn't have YouTubers that time, right? No influencers that time. Today you have so much of opportunity. So people don't need to be scared of AI, I think, and they just need to be open-minded that this is something new. Again, coming to change management, I think that's the word. Change is constant is what people still don't understand.
But fear of tech is a big thing, right? A big adoption barrier. Besides that, is there anything, that's maybe like your CEO, CXO buy-in is not coming in, or any of those other things that you
Of
face?
course, like initially I mentioned, there is a huge generation gap in the people who drive the business because they are of a different generation, right? For them, seeing people, touching people, talking to them in person gives them a lot of trust and warmth and assurance that yes, this person is genuine and will do the job. So that is, of course, one big barrier that I see in a lot of companies where it is this generational gap. They are not, though they see the data also, okay, still they would want to talk to somebody that whether this data is right, you know, whether it is automated also. So with AI also, they feel like machine ही है ना, perfection तो नहीं दे पाएगी, but they don't understand that at least 80 to 90% तो दे देगी वो आपको correct data. बाकी का 10%, of course, you have to use your brain. That's why we are human, right? To analyze and find what could be wrong. But most of it can be done.
But okay, which one or two areas you think that AI will, like facelift completely? It's going to have the biggest impact in HR. Like
In
areas
HR.
like, productivity, costs, people analytics, stuff like that.
Of course, a lot of things like I just shared,
Mm.
I am really looking forward to, like I said, to understand more about it, Fido, because you said you can do all these things. Managing my talent, because like I said, we have 4,000, 5,000 people. Not every manager at the store is equipped to understand how to manage their talent. Many a times I have opportunities for them in my regional offices, which so I don't want to lose those talent. I just want some AI driven thing where the person can go online and look up something that this is what I'm interested in, and this AI helps communicate with that person and gives a solution that okay, you don't need to leave the organization, you have some other place where you can go. These things, if they're automated some way, that will be like a miracle for us. So I think companies like us who are scattered in so many locations and where not every manager is a manager, what we see in IT or corporate companies, then this support is very, very critical.
So besides having like, a lot of stores across the country, do you also have like a feet on street employees, like, people who are out there making sales or like not sitting in offices basically?
No. But we do have the area managers and territory managers who keep traveling to different locations.
Got it.
But
Got it.
no Salesforce on the feet. Yeah.
Got it. Preeti, you said something about, having to manage this generational gap when you implement new tools, and that involves convincing your CXO, especially your CFO and your CIO, because those are the two people who are going to give like a strong pushback to adopting new tech.
Yeah.
What are your 1 to 2 tips to, convince them?
So I think change management, I feel, over communication is important. Not only communication, because many a times people miss out on communication. So WIFM is the right thing, I should say. What is in it for me? Everybody's interested in knowing that. If as a change enabler, you can define that and help the person understand or help take their help to define it also. I always believe when you're doing some change management, involve everybody who's going to get affected from day one, right? Because if they know why we are doing this change, they're with you from day one. And if they know what is the WIFIP, what is in it for me, at the end of it, they will support you. Many times what happens, for example, in HR also, people do their own projects. Oh, chalo karte hain. HR ka naya technology lekar aate hain. Yeah, every department, they try to do something by themselves. I always tell my team that no, who are your stakeholders? Who's going to use that technology? Your employees. Have their inputs, because if they are in it together, then only your software implementation or anything that you're trying to make a change in the organization will be successful. Otherwise, they will never accept it because they don't know why you're doing this. And there are many, many such examples that I can tell you. Companies have done great initiatives, but when you do the impact analysis, impact is not that great. So for me, any initiative that I take in HR or in my organization, I see what is the impact on my people. If my people are not happy with it, it doesn't give any stars to me.
But while we are still on the topic of having AI tools, I just wanted to get like a quick answer from you on some aspects that HR professionals should look at while evaluating AI tools.
I think a lot is to do with the personal data, right? Whatever, because in India, I don't think we have so much of PI issues, but if you're working with international companies, personal data protection is huge, right? You have a lot of compliance over there. So I think that is one important thing I feel. And what is the potential value that you will get out of it? Plus, you have, like for us, we have so many systems already in place in the organization. How best the things can be integrated? Like we have a sales tool, we have a finance tool, we have an HR tool. We are also implementing now EAP, which is Employee Assistance Program. We'll get some data from there as well. So an AI tool, I think we'll have to talk to all of these and give us some output which will be helpful for us to drive more business productivity and efficiency. That's what I feel. That intelligence should be there in that particular area.
And especially when companies and employees are both getting more global, there's more global exposure. Privacy and data becomes even more important in this time. I noticed that Wellness Forever opened their second all women store, and
Yes,
that makes me very just happy to know that there are organizations taking like actually walking the talk when it comes to D&I initiatives. I would love to know a little bit from you on the initiatives that you are doing at Wellness.
So it was a very, very tough job, trust me. So the first store when they were putting up, I was not a part of it. But after that, I became a part, right? And see, the organization works 24/7. So first of all, security issues, and then people don't believe that women can run things by themselves. So initial 6 months, yes, it was very tough. In fact, before starting the store also, we gave all the women security related, training as well. So they had a 3 days of workshop with, a karate champion in Mumbai also and in Goa. Goa was the second store that we started. So whole 1 month was invested into those females, helping them understand, deal with situations where, there could be security issues. There could be some people who might be arrogant in talking, who might have come and some, because it was Goa again, somebody could drink and come. Could be many cases that would have come. So we actually prepared them for a month's time, for to get used to all these things. So that was a big, big job for all of us to do. But it was interesting. And then they work in different shifts. So not all women are ready for that. So we had our existing staff who were very enthusiastic about this whole initiative. So half of the staff was our internal staff. We wanted it to be that way as well. And half of the people came new on board. But fantastic initiative, and they're doing great, both the stores. Yeah, they're doing great. And we're trying to give them as much support from all sides. And all of us across the organization are very proud about that initiative.
I'm so super happy. Like this is something that I just read sometime before, right? And I was like, wow. And especially Goa, where most things shut, but wellness stores are open 24 hours. Is that right?
24/7, yes.
Yeah. And that's a crazy awesome initiative. I would love to visit one. Where's the one in Bombay? The run by women?
No. The one run by women is in Mulund.
Okay, Mulund. Okay. I'll make sure to visit there once at least.
Definitely.
Awesome. I'm on to my last question, Preeti, and I know this is already going to be interesting, but I wanted to ask you if there's one piece of advice that you'd like to give to people leaders across India. What is it?
For me, a leader is a person who sees the best in their team and helps them blossom, right, in their areas. So I think all leaders need to understand this part. Of course, there is delivery and everything, but need to understand if the person is not interested or doesn't have that will, you have to either get that will into that person, but please understand the person's skill and their happiness. And if you give them something that they love to do, you will also be always successful because they will be successful. So many a times leaders tend to forget that, they try to instruct a lot, and that kills the creativity and the motivation of their team members. I think if you just give that freedom, but you should have that intelligence to see what is in it that the person is good at, and let them blossom. I think that's the job of a leader.
What a beautiful ending to this podcast, because it just encapsulates the role of HR and people success in just one line.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti, for joining us today. This was an amazing, wholesome podcast, and there's so much I would like to talk to you about, especially the personality test and the happiness coaching, because I think everyone needs it a little bit, right? And everyone is not ready to also accept the fact that they need it. So I would love to have a chat with you about it later on.
Anytime, anytime. And thank you so much for inviting me for this podcast.